What is up, everybody? It's your boy Jermaine, main on MMA, and today, ladies and gents, we are checking out this video, as you guys should see on your screen, trying out this new thing here. Apologies for yesterday. So, I was like, let's try out this new way to put the screen here. It's a little more efficient. But then I full screened it, and then after I was doing the editing, and I was like, dude, I can't see. I full screened myself out of the image. So I'll try not to do that today. But yeah, we're watching this video about how MVP is a bad matchup for Shara Magomedov. These two face off this Saturday, I believe, in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia. UFC Saudi Arabia, headlined by Israel Adesanya this Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check out this video from MMA Friction, and I will react during and at the end.
You know, Shara Magomedov has really grown on the fans since joining the UFC. I mean, coming in undefeated with that wild backstory of being blind in one eye, he already had people talking. But let's be honest, that same backstory is why so many people were skeptical about him succeeding.
The blind in one eye thing didn't factor into the hype. The striking, mixed with him being Dagestani, made me hype, and then I found out he don't wrestle. So then I kind of cooled off of him. Just like I said leading up to the Umar Merab fight, people like Umar and Shara frustrate me.
In the UFC, I mean, losing half your vision is a huge disadvantage, especially at this level. And on top of that, grappling isn't exactly his strong suit. Still, we gotta give him where credit is due. The UFC have done a great job giving him great matchups that really play to his strength. So when they announced his next opponent, I was kind of shocked. They're putting him against MVP, one of the best strikers in the game right now, if not the best. And let's be real, MVP has every chance to step in there and completely outclass Shara.
I don't like, he'll probably touch on this. I don't like that MVP is moving up to 185 just for a one-off. I don't like that.
And derail all his momentum that he built, because Michael Venom Page is just on a different level when it comes to the striking. The guy is a human highlight reel. His style is so unorthodox, so flashy, you never know what's coming. 1 second he's taunting you with his hands down, and then the next he's throwing a spinning kick or landing some insane flying knee. I mean, who does that and makes it look so effortless? What really makes MVP special, though, is his ability to control distance. He's got that wide karate stance, and his footwork is just ridiculous. He'll stay just far enough out of range to frustrate you, but the moment you overcommit, boom, he's in your face with a counter strike. And look, man, on paper you might think, oh, this could be a banger of a striking battle, which it kind of is, but man, when you really break it down, this is a rough one for Shara. First off, MVP's ability to control range is next level. Like, the dude has this crazy wide stance and just knows how to stay right out of your reach. Shara, on the other hand, is more of a pressure guy. He wants to go
be in your face,
you know, close the distance, get in your face, and land those big shots. But MVP, good luck. He's gonna make you chase him around. The second you overcommit, boom, you're eating the counter. And then there's that unpredictability.
This is a terrible matchup for Shara. He might be getting led to slaughter, because even though he's a Dagestani nigga, he don't wrestle. He don't use his wrestling, even though he's a Dagestani nigga. This could be a bad matchup. I see it already. It's because I think the only way that he could really shut down MVP is if he mixed in some grappling, but I don't really see that happening for Shara.
MVP just doesn't throw basic combos. He's out there landing some spinning kicks, flying knees, all that flashy stuff that makes you hesitate. Shara hasn't really faced anyone like that yet. He's more of a straightforward striker, super dangerous. Now, don't get me wrong, but MVP's fights are kind of like he's in a video game. You don't know if a jab is coming or if he's about to hit you with some Mortal Kombat fatality level move. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's talk about the speed, because MVP's quickness is just ridiculous. Like, Sharpudin's no slouch. He's fast, he's precise, but are on another level. You'll throw something at him, and he's already halfway across the cage, lining up his counters while you're still resetting. That's a huge problem for someone who relies on forward pressure like Sharpudin. Oh, and defensively, MVP is slippery as hell. He doesn't just stand there and trade shots. He's consistently moving, slipping shots, circling out, and Sharpudin loves those heavy exchanges. But how is he going to do that when he can't even pin MVP down? You can't hit what you can't catch. And MVP made a career out of frustrating guys like that. And let's not forget that MVP's experience. The dude has fought so many high-level strikers, and he's comfortable in those situations. Sharpudin's still on the come-up, and he hasn't faced someone with this kind of elite striking and IQ. MVP's seen guys with power, speed, pressure. He knows how to handle all of it. Alright, and we've seen a lot of holes that MVP could capitalize with Sharpudin. I mean, if you go back to when Sharpudin fought Tricoli, there's a lot of holes that Michael Venom Page could potentially do to Sharpudin Magomedov. Look, Tricoli exposed some real gaps in Shara's game, but MVP, he's a whole different animal. If Tricoli was able to land some clean shots on Shara, you could bet MVP's going to take a full advantage of those same weaknesses and probably do in a much more devastating way. First off, Shara's defense. Tricoli's been caught multiple times because, let's be real, Shara's got that habit of keeping his hands low and relying on his head movements, which is fine when you're fighting those guys who aren't super quick. But MVP, this guy is fast, precise, and unpredictable. He's not just throwing a straight jab and following it up with a basic combo. He's faking you out, making you bite on feints, and then landing something you never saw coming. If Shara doesn't tighten up his defense, MVP's gonna piece him up. And then there's the whole movement thing. Tricoli exposed how Shara tends to back up in straight lines when he's under pressure.
Oh, really?
Tricoli was able to close the distance and land some shots just by following him forward. Now imagine MVP in that same scenario. MVP is nasty at capitalizing on linear movement. The guy has this explosive style when he darts in that crazy strikes, flying knees, spinning kicks, you name it. If Shara tries to retreat and straight back like he did against Tricoli, MVP's gonna catch him. Another thing that stood out in that Tricoli fight was Shara's overconfidence in his power. He kept pressing forward, thinking he could overwhelm Tricoli, but instead he let himself get wide open and ate a counter. Against MVP, that's a death
might get knocked out.
MVP is one of the best counter strikers in the game. He's so good at baiting guys into like overcommitting, and then he makes them pay with a pinpoint accuracy. If Shara tries to bull rush MVP like he did with Tricoli, he's gonna get lit up and probably finish. And let's not forget how Tricoli forced those longer exchanges where Shara's defense just started falling apart. Shara is great when he's dictating the pace, but when someone keeps him in the pocket and throws combinations, he gets a little bit too hittable. MVP doesn't need to hang around in the pocket. He can pick Shara apart from the outside, land clean shots, and reset before Shara even knows what happened. Those defensive gaps Shara showed in those Tricoli fights, MVP will exploit them, no question about it. Finally, there's the footwork. Tricoli exposed that Shara doesn't have the best ability to create angles or reset when he's under pressure. MVP, on the other hand, is a footwork wizard. He's consistently moving, creating space.
I feel like he's kind of repeating himself.
If Shara can't figure out how to cut off the cage and deal with that movement, it's going to be a very long or very short night for him. So yeah, Tricoli gave us a preview of where Shara's weaknesses are, but MVP is the type of fighter who could turn those weaknesses into a full-blown disaster. This matchup feels like it's built for MVP to shine. If Shara can't adjust, it's gonna be a rough outing for him. Alright, so you're probably asking, where does Shara actually find some success in this fight against MVP? Well, first of all, his unpredictability could be a huge factor. You see, Shara's got this unorthodox striking style that might catch MVP off guard, especially early in the fight. MVP thrives on controlling the pace and baiting guys into his range. But if Shara mixes things up with feints, level changes, or some weird angles, it could throw MVP's timing off. Another area where Shara might shine is with his physicality and pressure. If he can get close and close the distance and make this gritty, grind it out kind of fight, then he could have some moments. MVP loves to stay out of range where he can play his game, but if Shara can drag him into a clinch or pin him against the cage, that limits MVP's movement and takes away a lot of his weapons. And finally, Shara's aggression and volume can really test MVP's defense. If he can stay busy mixing it up and pushing the pace without getting reckless, he might find some openings.
He is reckless.
But the question is, can he do all that without walking into MVP's traps? But honestly,
I don't think so.
I don't think it's going to be enough. It's crazy to me that Sharpuden is the favorite here. That's actually surprising
crazy.
me. I mean, if guys like Ian Gary and Kevin Holland couldn't outwork MVP on the feet, I don't see Sharpuden having much success either. He's arguably slower than both of them, so that's another factor working against him. Now, maybe Shara's been putting in some serious work on the grappling. Ironically, grappling hasn't been his strong suit, but if he's been grinding in that area, that's probably his best shot in winning this fight. And honestly, I do expect him to at least try to wrestle or mix it up a little, because standing with MVP just doesn't seem like a smart plan. But anyways, I got MVP winning by decision, unless they rob him because of where they're at. But who knows? As we all know, the fight game is unpredictable. That's just my 2 cents. But what do you guys think?
Shout out to MMA Friction. Dope video. Yeah, you opened my eyes, my brother. You just opened my eyes to this matchup. Yeah, this is a terrible matchup for Sharapudin Magomedov. And it'd be a nice humbling. I think it's going to be a nice humbling. We saw quite a few humblings in the last UFC card. Quite a few undefeated fighters lost their O's. And it's just, it is what it is. You know what it is. And he's going to lose his O here. He's going to lose his O to MVP, I believe. This is a terrible matchup. The fact that he doesn't really grapple, he doesn't have wrestling. All right. You're a Dagestani nigga with no wrestling. You're setting yourself up for failure, in my personal opinion. All right. You're just setting yourself up for failure. So I think MVP might finish Sharapudin. All right. I think he's going to get a finish here. I think the only thing that could save Sharapudin from being finished is that he might be bigger, like a lot bigger than MVP. MVP's moving up in weight class for this fight for just a one-off. Usually fights down at 170. I could have sworn he fought at 155 back in the day. I could be wrong. But yeah, he's moving up to 185 for a one-off against Sharapudin, the slower Dagestani nigga with no wrestling. Oh, you want me to fight a guy with no wrestling? And I'm just styling all over some of your best strikers? Yeah, I'll do that. I think MVP is going to dominate. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Head on over to MMA Friction. Give them a like. Give them a subscribe. And let me know what you guys think in the comments about my boy MVP versus Sharapudin Magomedov. Who do you guys have this weekend? Let me know, ladies and gents, in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you guys when I see you. I'll holla.